the Golden Age Gupta Empire. After the decline of the Mauryan Empire, the Satavahanas and the Kushanas arose two important political powers in India. Both these empires came to an end in the middle of the 3rd century AD. On the ruins of the Kushanas arose the empire of the Guptas. After the Mauryan Empire, it was the second most powerful empire of ancient India. The mighty Gupta Empire kept northern India politically united. Prashastis. We get information about the Guptas from literary as well as archaeological sources. One very important source is the Allahabad pillar inscription, which praises military achievements of Samudragupta, the most powerful warrior king of the Gupta dynasty. Prashasti is a special kind of inscription. Prashasti means in praise of in Sanskrit. Prashastis were composed by the poets praising and glorifying the special qualities and achievement of the kings. The Allahabad pillar inscription composed by Hari Sen, the court poet of Samudragupta. This Prashasti gives a long list of rulers he defeated with their names and territories. Moreover, the Prashasti glorifies and praises Samudragupta not only as a great conqueror but also as an accomplished poet and a talented musician. Thus, Prashastis are a very important and unique source of information about the Guptas. Literary sources of the Gupta period also include writings by famous writers like Kalidas and Bhas and accounts of foreign travelers like Fayan. We also know about the Guptas from the world famous Ajanta paintings and from the large number of gold coins produced by the Guptas. Chandragupta I, 320 AD to 335 AD. The founder of the Gupta dynasty was Sri Gupta, who ruled from 240 AD to 280 AD. However, it was Chandragupta I, 320 AD to 335 AD, who made the dynasty powerful. He made Patliputra his capital. His kingdom extended from Magad to Prayag or modern Allahabad, Saket or the region of Ayodhya was also under his control. Thus, he managed to bring under his political control the mineral-rich Bihar and fertile plains of Uttar Pradesh. This material prosperity enabled Chandragupta I to establish a powerful kingdom. He also strengthened his political position by marrying into the politically powerful Lichavi family. Samudragupta 335 AD to 380 AD. The Gupta kingdom was extended by Chandragupta's son and successor Samudragupta 335 AD to 380 AD. His court poet Hari Sen wrote a glowing account of his military achievements. This was inscribed on the Ashokan pillar at Allahabad and is known as Prayag Prashasti. Prayag is the ancient name of Allahabad. The word Prashasti means in praise of. This pillar also has an edict of Ashoka on one side. Samudragupta was not only a great warrior, he was also a wise and able administrator. Though he defeated many rulers, he did not absorb all the defeated states into the Gupta Empire. He knew that it was very difficult to rule a vast empire, so he did not overextend his kingdom. Hari Sen's accounts describe his victory over 5 kinds of kingdoms. Rulers of the Ganga Yamuna Valley or Aryavarta, that is northern India, were defeated, and the present day Delhi and western Uttar Pradesh were brought under his direct administration. Rulers of eastern India, including the frontier states of Assam, Nepal, and coastal Bengal, were made to accept his overlordship. They were not made a part of Gupta Empire, but they became subordinates and paid him annual tributes and attended his court. 12 rulers of the Deccan or Dakshinapath surrendered to Samudragupta after being defeated, and he then allowed them to rule again. The forest kingdoms situated in the Vindhya region were also defeated and brought under the control of the Gupta Empire. The descendants of the Kushanas and Shakas ruling in Afghanistan and the ruler of Sri Lanka also submitted to him and offered their daughters for marriage. If we believe in the glowing praises of Samudragupta as inscribed on the Ashokan pillar, it seems that Samudragupta never knew any defeat, and because of his bravery and ambitious spirit, he is often referred to as the Napoleon of India. Chandragupta II, 380 AD to 413 AD. Samudragupta was succeeded by his son Ramgupta, who was captured by the Shaka satraps. Then his brother Chandragupta II defeated the Shaka satraps. Chandragupta II, 380 AD to 413 AD, took the title of Vikramaditya. During his reign, the Guptas attained the highest power and prosperity. He inherited a vast kingdom and defeated the Shakas of western Malwa and Gujarat. He acquired control over 3 prosperous ports of western India: Broch, Cambay, and Sopara. He made Ujjain his second capital and became a great patron of art and literature. His court was adorned by many great scholars and poets. Kalidas was one of them. It was during his time that the Chinese pilgrim Fayan visited India and gave a detailed account of the life of the people in his writing. System of administration. The Gupta kings were all powerful. They adopted high-sounding titles so that they are regarded as powerful by their subjects, such as Parameshwara and Maharaj Dhiraj. The king maintained a standing army which was supplemented by the forces provided by the feudal lords. Chandragupta I was the first to adopt the grand title of Maharaj Adhiraj. The Guptas divided the empire into provinces, districts, and villages. The Gupta rulers were wise enough to give power and responsibility to the officials of the provinces and districts. Thus, there was a decentralization of powers. In the village headman became very important in Gupta times. He managed the village affairs with the help of village elders. With the administration of the villages and towns, important local citizens were involved. Thus, the Guptas involved the local people in the task of administration. Senapati, Mahasenapati, Mahabal Adhikrita were some of the important military officers. Except these officials, the Samantas, who acted as intermediaries between king and the peasants, were also assigned the authority to collect land revenue. In addition to this, they had to maintain soldiers and horse and to provide equipments for warfare. Some important posts were hereditary. For example, the poet Hari Sen was a Mahadandanayak or chief judicial officer like his father. Sometimes many offices were held by one person. Life in the Gupta age. We know a lot about the political, social and economic life of the Guptas from the account of Fa Yan, a Chinese pilgrim who visited different parts of the Gupta Empire. He informs us that the cities were prosperous and many rich people lived in these cities. Fa Yan spent 6 years in the Gupta kingdom. He found the entire kingdom very peaceful. There was prosperity and justice for all. He found the people content and happy. According to Fa Yan, the Gupta kings were supporters of learning arts. Economic life. The Gupta rulers produced the largest number of gold coins in ancient India. This indicates the prosperity of the Gupta Empire. Guptas traded with the Roman Empire, to which they exported silk. But towards the end of Gupta period, this trade declined because the Romans had learned the art of growing silk from the Chinese. Social life. During the Guptas, caste system had become very complex because of the rise of too many subcastes. Subcastes increased in number because of the absorption of foreigners and tribes into Indian society. The lowest section of the Hindu society were the Chandalas. The Chinese pilgrim Fa Yan observed that the Chandalas lived outside the cities. They were regarded as untouchables. According to Fa Yan, whenever Chandalas entered a city, they struck a piece of wood on their forehead so that people would avoid touching them or brushing against them. Women led a restricted life. Women did not enjoy economic or social independence. They were completely dependent on the male members of the family. Women were sometimes even expected to follow their husband to the funeral pyre. The first instance of sati or immolation of the widow after the death of her husband appears in Gupta times. One major reason for the backwardness of women was that they lacked property rights. However, gifts of jewelry, garments, etc., given to her during her marriage were her property and was called Stridhan. Religion. The Gupta rulers patronized Hinduism and worshipped Vishnu and Shiv. The Gupta rulers encouraged Hinduism by giving donations for the construction of temples. However, the Gupta rulers followed a policy of religious tolerance towards other religions. The followers of Buddhism and Jainism were respected and not harassed. Moreover, the Bhakti movement, which was based on selfless devotion to gods and goddesses, became popular during this period. Art and architecture. The Gupta period is called the Golden Age of ancient India. This may not be true in the economic field because several towns in North India lost their importance during this period. Trade too declined by the end of the Gupta period. But in the field of art and especially literature, the Gupta age was definitely the golden age of ancient India. Both Samudragupta and Chandragupta too were patrons of art and literature. Samudragupta is represented on his coins playing of the veena, and Chandragupta too had the Navratnas, 9 gems, including Kalidas in his court. Architecture flourished under the Guptas. Many temples were built. The temples constructed at Deogarh in Jhansi, Bhitargaon in Kanpur are worth mentioning. In the Gupta period, beautiful images of Buddha were made at Sarnath and Mathura. More than 2-meter high bronze image of the Buddha has also been found, which belongs to the Gupta period. However, the greatest specimen of Buddhist art in Gupta period is provided by Ajanta paintings. These paintings depict various events from the life of the Buddha. These paintings are lively and natural. The brilliance of their colors has not faded even after 14 centuries. The craftsmen during the Gupta period excelled in the craftsmanship of bronze and iron. Several bronze images of the Buddha began to be made in the Gupta period. In case of iron works, the best example is the iron pillar found near Qutub Minar in Delhi, manufactured in the 4th century AD. The pillar has not rusted in the subsequent 15 centuries. It shows the superb quality of the metal and technological skill of the craftsmen. Literature. The Gupta period saw the birth of rich literature. Excellent poems and dramas in Sanskrit were composed at this time. The world famous Kalidas adorned the court of Chandragupta II. His famous works include Meghdutam, Raghuvansham, Abhigyan Shakuntalam is considered to be one of the best 100 literary works in the world. It is one of the earliest Indian writing to be translated in European languages. The world famous stories for children called Panchtantra by Vishnu Sharma were also written during this period. Science and technology. Aryabhat and
Varamihira
were two famous mathematicians and astronomers of this period. Aryabhat was a great astronomer who propounded that the earth moves around the sun. He also stated that the earth moves on its axis. He made this unique discovery on the basis of his mathematical calculations. He also discovered the cause of the lunar and solar eclipses. He also calculated the position of the planets. He wrote a book on mathematics and astronomy called Aryabhatyam. In the field of mathematics, Aryabhat knew about the decimal system. The concept of zero was also known and introduced to the world by Aryabhat.
Varamihira,
Another famous astronomer, wrote Brihat Samhita. He stated that the moon revolves around the earth and the earth revolves around the sun. It is because of the excellent achievements in art, architecture, science, and mathematics that the Gupta period is known as the Golden Age of ancient India. Fall of the empire. Chandragupta II was succeeded by his son Kumar Gupta, who in turn was succeeded by his son Skandagupta. During the rule of Skandagupta, the Gupta Empire faced the threat of Huna invasion. Hunas were excellent horsemen and archers. Skandagupta and his successors found it very difficult to withstand them. While the Gupta rule lingered on till the middle of the 6th century AD, the glory of the Guptas had faded a century earlier.